What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be looking at COROS's new Pod 2. And perhaps you are a COROS user and you wondered, do I need to pick up the Pod 2? What's it all about? Well, in this video I'm going to be telling you all about it and specifically how it is going to benefit you as a runner. Alright, let's get into it. Now when you open the box of the COROS Pod 2, you get a couple of things. Let's start with the pod itself because that's what this is all about. Look how beautiful and small it is. It is very thin. Now the pod itself only weighs 5.6 grams, so when this is attached to your shoe or the back of your shorts, you are never going to feel it. We also have the charging dock. We'll talk more about that in just a second. It does all come in this beautiful little case, and the case is so nice that I wish there was something else I could do with it after I took the pod out of it, but I really don't know what can go in it. This is the charging cord, USB-A to USB-C. The Pod 2 comes with 2 shoe sensors, and ultimately these go underneath your laces, and then you put the Pod 2 laying on top of the laces. There's also this little silicone thing. This is the case for when it's going to sit on the back of your shorts. It slides in beautifully, it's not going anywhere. The Pod 2 fits nicely into the charging dock. It slides in nose first, and then you push down on the back, and then to release it, there is a little release button right here on the back. Push that, it pops up, and comes right out. So you guys are certainly not going to have any battery anxiety when you use the Pod 2. Inside the Pod 2 itself, it can track up to 28 hours of continuous running, and it can be left 50 days in standby mode. So when you're not using it, it will last 50 days without needing to be recharged. For me, I think the best part of this charging dock is that it holds an additional 5 charges for the Pod 2. So if you're going away on a very long running trip, you don't have to worry about bringing a cord to charge the charging dock because you know you have another 5 full charges of the Pod 2 inside the charging dock. Oh, before we go any further, you should know that the COROS Pod 2 will cost you $99 here in the US. And the value of the Pod 2 is going to become apparent in just a second. And there is a lot of technology squeezed into this little thing. Pod 2 has a barometric altimeter, a thermometer, a geomagnetic compass, an accelerometer, and a gyroscope. So all these things are working together to give you that run data that you crave. But you might be thinking, Matt, I have a GPS watch. It seems to work fine. Why do I need this pod to give me additional data? Well, here's the thing, and I'm glad you asked. COROS designed the Pod 2 to work in concert with your COROS watch. And I suppose now would be a good time to tell you that the COROS Pod 2 only works with COROS watches. I'm sure COROS knows what they're doing, but to me it seems like a bit of a missed opportunity because if they made the Pod 2 available to everyone else and their watches, it seems like they would sell a lot more and help get more people with their foot in the door with the COROS ecosystem. But that's neither here nor there. As of the making of this video, the COROS Pod 2 is only available for COROS watches. And the reason for the Pod 2 is because GPS, although it is good and although we all rely on it, it does have its limitations. And basically that is because our watches are talking to space. Our watches are connecting to satellites thousands of miles away, and that can lead to a little lag. And that lag is most likely seen when we're changing pace. So sometimes when we pick up the pace, let's say we're doing an interval, there is probably going to be a pace lag of several seconds before your watch's recorded pace actually catches up to the pace that you're doing. There's also the tricky problem of when the satellites are blocked, it can make our GPS connection a bit sketchy. So perhaps if you run in an area with lots of tall buildings, if you live in a city, even if you live out in the woods, if you're running on trails in the woods, that tree canopy is going to disturb the satellite connection to your watch. So if you really care about maintaining that connection, getting that data, and keeping that data that you're getting accurate, you need something else to help your watch along. And that's where the Pod 2 comes in. So the Pod 2 connects to your COROS watch, and when the Pod 2 is connected, it provides real-time data. So when you drop the hammer on an interval or a stride, you are going to see immediate feedback on your watch. There's not going to be any guesswork when you're getting up to pace. You're going to know the pace that you're at. So just quickly, in order to connect the Pod 2 to your COROS watch, you're going to have to add it to the COROS app first. That is simply done by going to the COROS app, typing on the watch icon, and then we're going to add a new device. We're going to scroll down until we see Pod 2, pair a new device, we hit next, now it's searching for it. Oh, it got it already. And just like that, the Pod 2 is connected. And then when we go back to the watch screen, we can see that I've got my Pace 2 connected. If I scroll down, we've got the Pod 2 right below it. Now, that's all you have to do. The Pod 2 is automatically connected to any COROS watches that you have listed on your account. So we already know that you can use the Pod 2 in 2 different locations on your body. You can wear it on your shoe, and when it's on the shoe, you get a certain type of metric, or you can wear it on the back of your running shorts, which gives you a different data set. On your screen right now is the very confusing chart that COROS has provided to show the data that you get when you wear your Pod 2 in different locations. Now where it says dual in the chart, it indicates that the data is coming from both the watch and the Pod 2. So this chart immediately gives you an idea of the difference between wearing it on your shoe or wearing it on the back of your running shorts. We can see that when it's on your shoe, you're getting metrics like GPS track enhancement, distance, pace, effort pace. We're going to talk more about effort pace in just a second, cadence, and your stride length. And when you wear it on the back of your running shorts, you're going to get metrics like your left to right balance, ground contact time, stride height, and stride ratio. Now, obviously, if you wear it on your foot or the back of your shorts, you are always going to get altitude data, temperature, and elevation gain and loss, just because of the internal sensors. Now, while the Pod 2 is good in every scenario, and by that I mean it's going to enhance your run metrics on every run, no matter where you run. It's going to make a huge difference if you run on a treadmill. Now, treadmills are notorious for being inaccurate, and not only are most of them inaccurate, it's likely that every different treadmill that you run on is going to record something different. Now, of course, much like when we're running outside, our GPS watches, they record our distance. And we wear the Pod 2 to enhance that recording. Well, this is taken to the next level when you use it on a treadmill, because you are assured that you are getting the right distance, the right pace, which is hugely important if you're going to be using the treadmill a lot over the winter while you're training for those spring races. So while I don't use a treadmill a lot, I am very happy to have the Pod 2 on my shoe, so I'm just sure I'm getting the right distance and getting the right numbers, and that it's comparable to my other runs outside. And of course, when you are running on the treadmill, the same thing counts. When you wear it on the shoe, you're going to get distance and pace data, and when you wear it on the back of your shorts, you're going to get the other running dynamics data. Now, one thing that is glaringly missing, at least to me, is the absence of power data. And as a runner that also uses the Stride foot pod on a regular basis, I actually find power data to be quite useful. But COROS is doing away with their power data, and their reasoning behind it is actually pretty compelling. Now, if you do have a newer COROS watch, you know that you are going to get wrist-based power. Power started with cyclists, and with cyclists, it's very easy to measure that power because we can actually measure the power being put into the pedals. With running, things get a little trickier because we have to measure different metrics, and then we have to interpret those metrics in order to get a number that we call power. I suppose that isn't the tricky thing. The tricky thing is that every watch manufacturer uses a different algorithm to calculate power. So while power is a very useful metric, at least to me, I get that understanding power and using it across the board is a bit of a challenge, especially if we want to compare other people. And because we know we are not supposed to compare ourselves to other people, for the main reason that everybody is different, because everybody is different, it doesn't make power data the same across the board. I hope that made sense. But the nugget of it is, COROS is not going to be developing their power metric any further. Instead, they're going to be looking at effort pace. Now, effort pace was previously known as adjusted pace, and if you're on Strava, you probably know it as GAP. Grade adjusted pace. And this is the basket that COROS is putting their eggs in when it comes to measuring effort moving forward. And the reason that effort pace is going to be the focus of COROS moving forward is because it can be personalized for every single runner. So let's say I know that my marathon pace is 6 minutes and 52 seconds on a flat ground. I know that's the pace that I need to run at when I'm going out for a marathon effort workout. But let's say I'm running in a hilly area. Well, now that I have the instant feedback of effort pace using the Pod 2, I'm going to be able to get real-time data of my effort while I'm going up a hill. Basically, because it's harder running uphill than it is on a flat course, your actual pace is going to be slower than your effort pace. Does that make sense? So realistically, if I'm out on a marathon effort run and I start going up a hill, my pace slows down to an 8-minute pace. As long as my effort pace is still a 6 minute and 52 second pace, I know I am putting in the same effort. And running by effort is the best way to maintain our energy expenditure going through a race, going through a training block. Now, if you do have a COROS watch and you have updated it recently, you have probably noticed that you have an option to have effort pace as one of the metrics on one of your screens. And that's great. You've still got it. You do not have to buy the COROS Pod 2 in order to utilize effort pace, in the same way that you don't have to buy the Pod 2 to utilize your pacing data. But what the Pod 2 does give you is greater accuracy and speed in getting that accuracy. So ultimately, the Pod 2 is a nifty little piece of technology. If you are really into all your running data, I think it's really going to benefit you. You're probably going to enjoy getting real-time feedback from your pacing. You may enjoy knowing your left-right balance or your stride height, and there's a pretty big but, at least for me. And if it's a but for me, it may be a but for you. Now, while I like getting all these running metrics, I really do enjoy going on to my computer after my run and looking at my run and drilling into the data. However, I don't live in a big city, and I don't often run where there is a lot of tree canopies to block the satellite signal. So on a daily basis, I'm not actually sure how much value I am going to get out of the Pod 2. But that said, I'm kind of a running nerd and I don't want to risk not having the best data. Do you know what I mean? However, there are going to be times when I have to run through a tunnel or run through a highway overpass where the satellite signal does get blocked, and on those instances, I'm going to be glad I've got it. The one instance where I think this would be outrageously useful is at the Chicago Marathon. For those of you that haven't run the Chicago Marathon, you know that the first couple miles, GPS coverage is pretty spotty. And spotty is putting it nicely. You're basically running underground for the first mile or so, and then you run through the city and there's buildings all around. Anyway, if you have tried to keep pace at the Chicago Marathon using your watch, my friends, it is a losing battle. So for running the Chicago Marathon, the Pod 2 is going to provide data that is needed, that is useful, and it's going to make your Strava splits at the end look beautiful. However, what I'm most excited about with the Pod 2 is the fact that COROS updates their software repeatedly. Several times a year, my COROS watch gets an update. It has new features added. Same thing is going to be true with the Pod 2. So as a runner living in Florida, where it can be pretty warm, especially through the summer, I am most excited about COROS updating the Pod 2 to include environmental settings into their algorithm. So when I go out for a run, and it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit and it's 100% humidity, my effort pace is going to show a lot higher than my actual pace. Because, newsflash, it's a lot harder to run in the heat. The same goes with altitude, because the Pod 2 does include an altimeter. If you go for a run in Aspen at 8,000 feet, you are probably not going to be running as efficient as if you're running on Miami Beach, right at sea level. So ultimately, $100 for $99. If you have a COROS watch, I think the Pod 2 is probably a good investment. I mean, it's a good investment if you're a data nerd. So for me, $99, well worth it. All right, guys, let me know. Do you use a foot pod? Do you use any other kind of tracking device that goes on your shoe, that goes on your chest, that clips on your shorts? Let me know in the comments below. I guess also let me know what brand of running watch you use. And if you have made it this far in the video, why don't you go ahead and put the watch emoji in the comments just so I know you stayed to the end. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.